Similar to the way that history is written, we have built our space according to the perspective of one type of individual. Within recent years, we have attempted to play catch-up, but in quite a patronizing way to those who are differently abled, as though these gestures can make up for years of neglect.
To ensure that people with disabilities have equality of opportunity, supported by the necessary legal and policy framework. The boardwalk contributes to the nation's efforts to meet its commitment in creating an environment that enables all citizens to develop their full potential.
Through the documentary, we hear from Natasha Lewis, a family friend who has cerebral palsy. Living in Trinidad and Tobago for 45 years, she has become a victim to an environment that is reactive rather than proactive.
Every environment I've been into, I have been able to change the environment because of my power in terms of people see the struggle. But if you stay inside, people would not see the struggle. So I believe to achieve, let them see a struggle. I am Natasha Lewis, and I have cerebral palsy. That's my disability is cerebral palsy.
Every child is different. Everybody has their own formula. So you ask what the parents normally would ask, which is, how long will my child have this for? If it is cerebral palsy or so, it will be forever. But at the same time, if it is well managed, then the child will, you do things for the child to succeed, to still get into society and go to school and get married and different things like that.
I also had a dream to go to secondary school. So when I was young, I wanted to go to St. James Secondary. That was my dream school. Because my mom went there, my aunt went there, so I really wanted to follow the family line. So the first day at secondary school was a real eye-opener of people staring at me. You know, I felt isolated, alienated, and I was a shy person although. And I felt different for the first time in my life. I felt different than anybody else. How I coped, I would not show my emotions in school. I'd be cool, I would ignore them, even though it was horrible. And when I came home, as soon as I come home, I would cry. I could express myself at home. And there I got support from my family. They were able to encourage me. My pastor at the time, but one party would call me and pray with me. So I got that spiritual strength from the church and the support of my friends and my family. In secondary school, I would tell you how I love TD, right? Technical drawing. I didn't think about it. Only recently I realized where the school did not adapt to my situation, right? The tables were very high. Because when I stand up, the tables would reach me by my chest. And what they did is they gave me a chair to kneel down on. So every period I would kneel down on the chair and for 2 periods, 3 periods, do draw TD. And now I'm looking back at it, I said, but first of all, it wasn't safe. And then they could have made adjustments. They could have lowered the table or give me an ordinary table. All these things could have been done for me. But because of lack of awareness, that I adapted to the environment instead of the environment adapting to me. Every environment I've been into, I have been able to change the environment because of my power in terms of people see the struggle. But if you stay inside, people would not see the struggle. So I believe to achieve, let them see a struggle.
Under the PNM government, The University of Trinidad and Tobago was erected in 2004 and their fashion degree began in 2008. Ms. Lewis was among the first academic year group to be accepted within the degree despite her situation. Added to that, Trinidad and Tobago has never solidified its building codes within the last 50 years, but the discourse around it favors natural disasters.
I always wanted to be a designer from young. My uncle was really instrumental in terms of me pursuing my career, because one day he came to me and he said, Tasha, what you wanted to be, what you want to do. Was having a discussion, and then he said, so I want to do designing. He said, well, what about John Lee? And then he said, we have a cousin who could get into John Lee. So he called him right away, and it so happened that the deadline was Monday. We went by him, got the forms, and the thing about ironic is that when they got the form, they left it blank, because they knew the name of the course. So when he came home a little later, I said, what you put me under? He said, tailoring. Now, I never didn't like tailoring, but I started off with tailoring. And then when I was finished with tailoring, I pursued my dressmaking and designing. When I went to university, I learned wearable art, where I took garbage, discarded materials, and I would make it into beautiful pieces of art. And when I started to do it, I realized that this is what people with disability really go through, where they feel discarded, they feel unwanted, they feel like garbage to some people, they feel unuseful. But when you get the opportunity to really be showcased, people see the beauty, and so I make wedding dresses from garbage bags, and I do all different things, use sweet drink bottles and make dresses, and it really comes out good, and people are very at awe at my pieces. But then I get a way to express them and say, if persons with disabilities could be oriented into society, could participate in activities, we could become beautiful pieces of art also. A lot of persons with disability don't reach as far as I have, because I have a degree in fashion. I have been in John Lee Donaldson too, where I was able to climb the steps, 40 steps, right, for many years, about 10 years. And then in the last year, I got an elevator, which was so empowering. I could use my scooter to go up and down the stairs, the compound at John Nelson.
While she was able to gain access within her last year, this came as a result of protests from family and pleas from academic consultant and director Christopher Nathan. He labored with the board for the elevator, which was delayed to claims of financial issues and inconvenience. Attitudes such as this are common with regards to dealing with people who are differently abled. This attitude is embedded within our Constitution through the Equal Opportunity Act of 2000 and 2011, which enables a facility to discriminate against a differently abled individual if providing services present unjustifiable hardships on the provider. But who draws the line to determine what is unjustifiable?
A former health minister under the NAR, Dr. Hussein, says there is still a lot of discrimination against persons with disabilities in this country, and that's why he believes it is urgent to have a Citizens with Disabilities Act in this country.
They are bringing a Citizens with Disabilities Act to the Parliament in Antigua, so that Trinidad, we like to think we are the leaders in the Caribbean in so many things. We are behind the curve when it comes to legislation.
Every environment I've been into, I have been able to change the environment because of my power in terms of people see the struggle. But if you stay inside, people would not see the struggle. So I believe to achieve, let them see a struggle.
Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, that will shorten it to CRPD because it's easier, was a convention developed through the United Nations system to protect and enhance the rights of persons with disabilities worldwide. It has now been ratified by 130 countries, so over 2/3 of the countries that are members of the United Nations have now signed on and are committed to improving the situation for people who have disabilities around the world.
The consortium of disability organizations say they're deeply disappointed with the last-minute cancellation of activities by the Social Development Ministry, which has occurred for the second year running. On the day that is the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, the organization said it was a slap in the face for people with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago. The president of the organization said in a statement they're upset that the minister hasn't chosen to meet with them to highlight the work of organizations involved in helping people with disabilities.
This is a main road in Port of Spain, and it's fraught with danger. The reason he's here, the pavements are too narrow, full of people, and cracked.
Us. Imagine today's World Disability Day, and as we speak, I have to traverse in the road rather than the pavement.
A grand entrance for Natasha Lewis, and while for some this access may seem small, to her it's a reason to be forever thankful.
I'm so grateful to the sponsors and They have changed my life in a really great way. I'm able to access the school at a better way. I feel empowered, and I always push for accessibility, and this is a milestone in Trinidad and in Malik Secondary School.
In 2018, the principal at the Malik Secondary School negotiated with corporate sponsors, Massey Foundation, and a National Lotteries Control Board for the construction of 2 critical facilities. The garment production teacher, who has been at the school since 2014,
I would say it was like heaven. I was so surprised how I went to America and they would have everything is accessible. So I felt it was really good. Doors were opening for you. I could go from stores. I felt that I could live alone. I could be more independent. I could drive. I could go to all the stores I wanted to be. It was a real eye opener for me of how it could be, where I could be totally accessible, mobile. I could be empowered to move on my own. Whereas in Trinidad, there's so many physical barriers in my environment. So I felt really, really, really free and empowered. Yeah.